You think winter's rough now? Maybe your heater goes out for a night, the roads get icy, or your coffee order gets delayed by a snowstorm. But imagine a winter so merciless, it defines your entire existence. Where freezing to death, starving, or falling ill isn't a worst-case scenario. It's just an ordinary risk of life. Welcome to Northern England, the year 1350. A time before central heating, electric blankets, or padded jackets. A time when every snowflake could mean disaster, every gust of wind whispered of hunger, and the only thing standing between you and the killing cold was a drafty, smoke-blackened cottage made of sticks, mud, and determination. But don't worry, you're safe where you are now. Warm, tucked under your blankets, maybe drifting towards sleep. So get comfortable, because I'm about to take you deep into the heart of a medieval winter. And trust me, after this, even the chilliest modern day seems downright tropical. Picture this. You wake in a single-room home on a gray November morning. There's no sunlight, just the faint, flickering glow of embers in the hearth. Your bed? A straw-filled mattress, your blanket a rough patchwork of wool and fur. It's cold enough that your breath clouds the air, and every joint in your body aches from the damp chill seeping through the wooden walls. This is Thomas Fletcher's world. He's 43, practically elderly by medieval standards, his body worn down by years of farming, chopping wood, and simply surviving. Beside him, his wife Emma stirs, curling tighter under the covers, their youngest daughter tucked against her chest. Across the room, their teenage son William coaxes the hearth back to life with careful hands, feeding in dry twigs like they're gold. The cottage is small, 15 by 20 feet, but for the Fletchers, it's everything. The walls, made of wattle and daub, a lattice of woven sticks covered in clay, straw, and animal dung, insulate against the bitter cold better than you'd think. Yet still, drafts snake in through every crack, and the unglazed windows, covered with oiled parchment, offer little resistance to the relentless wind. Outside, the world is stark. Bare trees rattle like bones, and a thin layer of frost clings to every surface. The pond has begun to freeze, and the villagers whisper that this winter will be harder than the last. A troubling thought, given that the last winter nearly broke them all. But this isn't just any winter. It's the start of the Little Ice Age, a centuries-long period where temperatures plummeted, growing seasons shortened, and survival became an ever-tightening rope walk between starvation and freezing. Thomas remembers his childhood, when winters seemed milder. But now, each year the cold arrives earlier, stays longer, and bites harder. The difference of just a few degrees in temperature? To a modern ear, insignificant. To a medieval farmer? Life and death. The family rises, layering themselves in woolen garments. Leg wrappings for the men, long wool gowns for Emma and the girls, caps and mittens where possible. Their shoes, rough leather with straw insoles, offer little protection, but it's all they have. Today is Martmas, the feast of St. Martin, marking the true beginning of winter preparations. The livestock that can't be fed through the harsh months will be slaughtered. Their meat preserved through salting and smoking. Their hides turned to leather, every scrap used to fight off the creeping cold and inevitable hunger. The entire village buzzes with activity. Thin columns of smoke curl from thatched rooftops, mingling with the crisp, gray sky. Neighbors share tools and labor. Survival isn't an individual endeavor here. It's communal. Firewood is life itself. Throughout the warmer months, families gathered fallen branches and deadwood from the forest, stacking cords of wood in preparation. Cutting live trees is forbidden, punishable by the lord of the manor, but desperation sometimes forces hard choices. Some winters, Thomas has seen families burn their furniture, even parts of their homes, just to stay warm. Inside the Fletcher cottage, preparations continue. Emma tends to the herbs, rosemary, thyme, sage, drying them for winter meals and medicine. Margaret, their eldest daughter, assists, wrapping apples in straw, storing root vegetables in the storage pit beneath the floor. Turnips, parsnips, carrots, and cabbages, simple, hardy crops that can last months if properly cared for. Thomas joins other villagers for the slaughtering, his hands cold, his joints stiff. But this is necessary work. Every animal represents future meals, and waste is not an option. Blood is used for puddings, intestines for sausage casings, fat for cooking and candles. Even bones will flavor soups and stews. By day's end, the family has meat to salt and smoke, fat to render, and hides to cure. Their small cottage smells of wood smoke and fresh-cut pork, the faint aroma of herbs hanging in the rafters. The fire crackles softly, casting shadows on the smoke-darkened walls. Evenings are for stories, the lifeblood of long winters. Tonight, young Agnes pleads for a tale of the great frost fairs, when the river froze solid and merchants set up stalls on the ice. Thomas remembers those times, the wonder of walking on water, roasting meats over fires built directly on frozen rivers, music and laughter echoing through the cold. But behind every fairy tale lies harsh reality. Those same winters brought famine, disease, and death. Frost fairs were brief glimmers of joy in otherwise brutal seasons. As the snow begins to fall, the Fletchers secure their shutters, bank the fire, and settle in for the night. Stones warmed by the hearth are wrapped in cloth and placed at their feet, an old trick for keeping frostbite at bay. They sleep close, bodies sharing heat, their humble home their only shield against the merciless world outside. The weeks pass. Days blur into one another. A rhythm of tending fires, rationing food, spinning wool, mending clothing. The wind howls through the trees, snow piles against walls, ice thickens on the pond. Every task is survival. Check the roof for heavy snow. Patch the daub where cracks appear. Keep the livestock warm, their body heat invaluable inside the cramped living space. Meals are simple but nourishing. Porridge made from barley or oats, flavored with herbs, maybe a sliver of salted meat. Bread, dense and dark, baked infrequently to conserve fuel. Ale brewed from grain, safer to drink than questionable water sources. Illness, inevitable in winter's close quarters, strikes often. Coughs, fevers, lingering ailments exacerbated by smoke-filled air and limited nutrition. Emma uses honey, herbs, and ancestral remedies, part medicine, part superstition. There are no doctors here, only practical knowledge passed down through generations. Yet, amid the hardships, life continues. The village gathers for church, the stone building cold but familiar. Mass in Latin, mostly unintelligible but comforting. Afterwards, neighbors linger, sharing news, exchanging remedies, reinforcing the community ties that are as essential as food. Entertainment arrives in small doses. A traveling peddler with wares from distant towns. Ribbons, needles, trinkets, and tales of hardship beyond the village. Epiphany brings modest feasting, simple games, and a child crowned king for a day, a brief inversion of the rigid social order. As winter deepens, the true test begins. February brings the starving time. Food stores dwindle, quality declines, and meals thin to bare sustenance. Bread stretched with peas and beans, porridge watered down. The family calculates every meal, every log of wood burned. Illness lingers. Little Agnes falls sick, coughing, fevered. Emma tends to her with care and quiet desperation.
Pineneedle tea, honey, herbs, whispered prayers.
In this world, faith and medicine intertwine. The woodpile shrinks. Thomas and William venture into the forest, seeking fallen branches, risking fines for cutting green wood. Even inferior fuel is precious now. The days grow marginally longer. Signs of change. A birdsong, thawing ice, the first hint of green. Willow catkins, early herbs for tea. Small mercies after the endless monochrome of winter. By March, preparations for spring begin. Tools repaired, seeds sorted, livestock tended. Food remains scarce, but hope returns. April brings muddy paths, unpredictable weather, but also the first wild greens. Nettles, dandelions, rich in nutrients lost over the winter. Emma teaches the girls to harvest and prepare them, restoring strength, renewing vitality. Snow melts, rivers swell, soil softens. Livestock return to pasture, garden plots expand. Planting begins. A new cycle of life, rooted in lessons learned from the long, brutal months behind them. The shadow of winter lingers, a constant presence, shaping every decision. But for now, warmth returns, light lengthens, and life stirs. The Fletchers survived another medieval winter through ingenuity, endurance, and the unbreakable bonds of family and community. As you lie there, warm and comfortable, let their story drift you towards sleep, a reminder of human resilience, of survival etched in every frostbitten breath, every flickering firelight, every quiet victory over the cold. You made it. They made it. And now, safe beneath your blanket, you can drift into dreams of a world far colder and far tougher than our own. Sleep well,